Have a good day. So today you will learn how to solve quadratic equations by using the quadratic formula. And here are the steps in solving quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. First, write the given quadratic equation in standard form. Then identify the values of a, b, and c. Third, substitute the values of a, b, and c to the quadratic formula, which is x is equal to negative b, positive negative the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then the last one, of course, we have to simplify. So those are the steps or the procedures. How are we going to solve a given quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula? Let us have the first example. Let us solve x squared plus 6x is equal to negative 5. Again, we have to write the given quadratic equation into its standard form. Okay, so we have to move negative 5 to the other side of our equation so that the standard form of the given quadratic equation now will be x squared plus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. Then afterwards, we can now identify the values of a, b, and c. So the values of a or the value of a is 1 or positive 1. The value of b is positive 6. And the value of c is positive 5. Okay? Next, we can now use our quadratic formula. Again, this will be our quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b, positive negative, the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then afterwards, we can now substitute all the values of a, b, and c from the given quadratic formula. So you have here negative b, so negative you copy and the value of b, which is positive 6. And then copy positive negative, the square root of, again, you have here b, the value of b is positive 6, so you change b as positive 6. And then, minus 4, okay, it's constant po yan. The value of our a here is 1, so that's why you have here 1. And the value of c you have here 5, okay? Then all over, you copy 2, and the value of a here is 1, okay? Then afterwards, we will simplify each of our expression po one by one. So first, let us simplify this one. So negative multiplied by positive 6, that's why we got here negative 6. Then copy positive negative. Let us simplify 6 squared. So simplifying 6 squared, you got here 36. And then negative 4 times 1 will give us negative 4. Multiplied it by positive 5, that's why you got here negative 20. Then 2 multiplied by 1 will give us 2. Okay? Next, simplify po natin itong nasa loob ng ating radical sign. So, I'll just simply copy negative 6, positive negative. So, 36 minus 20 will give us 16. Okay? And then copy all over 2. So, let us now get the square root of 16. So, you copy here negative 6 plus negative. So, the square root of 16 here is 4 all over 2. And then we separate the two expression as first negative 6 plus 4 divided by 2, and the other one is negative 6 minus 4 divided by 2. So let us now simplify each expression. So you got here from the first one, negative 6 plus 4, so we have to apply here the rule of integers. We are adding integers with different signs. So you got here negative 2 all over 2. So when we simplify negative 2 by 2, we got here our value of x, which is equal to negative 1. So that will be our first root of the given quadratic equation. On the next one, you got here negative 6 minus 4 divided by 2. So we are to have here the subtraction of integers. So we have to apply here the keep change method. So applying here the keep change method, we got here negative 6 minus 4. We have here negative 10 divided by 2. And then when we simplify, that will give us the value of x, which is negative 5. So therefore, our x sub 2 is equal to negative 5. So, the roots of the given quadratic equation x squared plus 6x is equal to negative 5 are negative 1 and negative 5. Next, let us have our example number 2. So we have here 2x is equal to negative 7x plus 1. So again, we have to write the given quadratic equation into its standard form. So this time, we have to move our linear term and our constant term to the other side of our equation. Again, if your term was moved to the other side of your equation, always remember that the sign will change. So that's our quadratic equation now written into its standard form will be 2x squared plus 7x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then let us identify the values of a, b, and c. So whenever we identify the values of a, b, and c, we will now have as the value of a, which is positive 2, the value of b, which is positive 7, and the value of c, which is negative 1. And we're going to use the quadratic formula. Okay? So again, from the given quadratic formula, since we already get the values of a, b, and c, we will just simply substitute all those values from the given quadratic formula. Okay? Kaya po, ganyan na yung ating magiging susunod na gagawin. And then afterwards, we can now simplify our given expression or equation po. So from the first one, we have here negative multiplied by 7. So that's why you got here negative 7. And then you copy here positive negative. Then afterwards, 7 squared will give us 49. And then negative 4 times 2 will give us negative 8. Multiplied by negative 1 will give us positive 8. All over 2 times 2 will give us 4. Okay, so yan po yung mga binanggit ko kanina as we multiply or as we simplify each of our terms. So, si negative times 7, kaya po siya ay naging negative 7. This one, you got here positive 7 squared. That's why you got here 49. And this positive 8 is by multiplying negative 4 times like positive 2. That is negative 8, and then multiplied it by negative 1. That's why we have here positive 8. Then simplify natin yung ating denominator. 2 times 2 will give us positive 4. Okay, so dyan po natin nakuha yung ating given na solution or equation now. Then afterwards, let us simplify what is inside our radical sign. So we'll just simply combine 49 and 8. And when we combine this, we got here 57. So then afterwards, let us see if 57 is a perfect square. But I think a 57 is not a perfect square. So therefore, we got here negative 7 plus negative the square root of 57 divided by 4. So we can separate the two roots of our quadratic equation as our x sub 1 will be negative 7 plus square root of 57 divided by 4 or all over 4. And our x sub 2 can be negative 7 minus square root of 57 all over 4. So these are the roots of the given quadratic equation. Next example, let us move on the third example. Let us solve 3x squared minus x is equal to 14. Again, the first step, whenever we solve this using our quadratic formula, is we have to write the given quadratic equation into its standard form. So we are to move our constant term to the other side of our equation, which is positive 14, so that it will now become 3x squared minus x minus 14 is equal to 0. So once we already write the given quadratic equation into its standard form, we can now identify the values of a, b, and c. The value of a here is positive 3, the value of b here is negative 1, and the value of c is equal to negative 14. Then afterwards, we can now use our quadratic formula. Then, after we get the quadratic formula or we write the quadratic formula, we will now substitute all the given values of a, b, and c from our quadratic formula. So that will be our expression now. So you have here negative multiplied by negative 1 positive negative, the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 14 all over 2 times 3. So again, the same thing po. You just simply express or simplify each term. Okay, so one by one. So the first thing na kailangan mong masimplify is this one. We have here negative multiplied by negative 1. So when you simplify negative multiplied by negative 1, we got here positive 1. Then you copy positive negative, you simplify negative 1 squared. So negative 1 squared, that is equal to 1. Okay? And then you multiply this 3. Constant. So you have here negative 4 times 3 is equal to negative 12. Negative 12 times negative 14, we got here positive 168. Okay, that's why you got here 168. Then, yung atin pong denominator, 2 times 3, that will give us positive 6. Okay, then afterwards, let us simplify ito pong nasa loob ng ating radical sign. So 1 plus 168 will give us 169. Now let us get our square root of 169. So 169 is a perfect square. That's why the square root of 169 is 13. Okay, so once we simplify, we got now here 1 positive negative 13 all over 6. So we will just separate the to find for the values of the two roots that we can have. So we got here the first one as 1 plus 13 all over 6, and the other one will be 1 minus 13 all over 6. So simplify po natin yung una. So 1 plus 13 will give us 14, so divided by 6. So since we have here, or 14 it cannot be divided exactly by 6, so we'll just simply simplify our expression. So 14, getting the greatest common factor of 14 and 6. So we can simplify this as we got here 7 over 8. And on the other value, we got here 1 minus 13. You got here negative 12 all over 6. Since we can divide exactly 12 by 6, so you got here our x sub 2 as negative 2. So therefore, these are the solutions or the roots of our given quadratic equation. For the last example, we got here 2x squared plus 23 is equal to 14x. So the first thing that you need to do is you have to write the given quadratic equation into its standard form. So we have to move negative or positive 14x, to the other side of our equation. Make sure that whenever we rewrite our equation or quadratic equation to its standard form, make sure na naka-arrange din siya. So that's why this positive 14x will be moved to the other side of our equation in between our quadratic term and our constant term. So therefore, we now have here 2x squared minus 14x plus 23 is equal to 0. Then, let us identify the value of A, B, and C. The value of A here is positive 2, the value of B here is negative 14, and the value of C is 23. And afterwards, we use now the quadratic formula, okay? So the same thing, using our quadratic formula, make sure that when you write the quadratic formula, it's correct. Kasi kapag mali ang sulat mo ng iyong quadratic formula, so it's domino effect, magkakamali ka na din. So, from the given quadratic formula, isa-substitute lang natin dyan kung ano yung mga value ng A, B, and C based from the formula and based from the values that we got. So you got here negative times negative 14, positive negative the square root of negative 14 squared, minus 4 times 2 times 23 all over 2 times 2. So we have to simplify it one by one. So you got here negative times negative 14, we got here positive 14. Then 14 or negative 14 squared, you got here 196. And negative 4 times 2 times 23, we got here negative 184. And 2 times 2 will give us 4. Then afterwards, let us simplify what's inside our radical sign. So 196 minus 184 will give us 12. So you got here 14 plus negative or plus minus square root of 4 times 3 all over 4. Okay, now, why is it become from positive 12 or from 12, is it now become 4 times 3? So as you can see, 12 is not a perfect square. So hindi po siya perfect square. But we can get or also get or simplify this kind of radical as getting a factor of 12 with a perfect square. So ito po yung factor ni 12 with a perfect square factor, which is 4. So we simplify it as 4 times 3. Okay? Then afterwards, we now have here to get the square root of 4. Kaya po, nasa labas na po yung square root of 4, which is 2. So, get here 14 plus negative 2 square root of 3 all over 4. And then, afterwards, so you got here, or you have to get the common factor between 14 and 2. We got here their common monomial, or we have to apply here the common monomial factoring. So the common factor between 14 and 2 is 2. So therefore, we have to divide 14 by 2. You got here 7. And positive negative, 2 divides 2 will give us 1. Okay? So kapag 1 na siya, imaginary, pwede mo na siyang hindi isulat yung 1 dyan, all over 4. Okay? Then, afterwards, we cancel out 2 and 4. Or since pwede po siyang masimplify. 2 becomes 1 and 4 becomes 2. So therefore, whenever we simplify, we got here our roots, or the solution of the given quadratic equation as x is equal to 7 plus minus square root of 3 all over 2. So simply our x sub 1 can be 7 plus the square root of 3 all over 2. And our x sub 2 can be 7 minus the square root of 3 all over 2. So I hope that you learned something from this video and you learn how to solve quadratic equations by using our quadratic formula. So that's all. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening.